The Low Country Boys are based in the Eards, and two other members, Ivan McFerran and Gibson Young, have a keen interest in the history for around the peninsula.
It's okay we take this map down, John?
I bring that old map down even. It's 1608. It's the oldest map I ever seen of Ulster.
This is a wild interesting map, Gibson. I stumbled on this one day when John and I were talking about other things. So this is one of the last hand-drawn maps of Ulster.
And it was drawn as you would have seen it by the eye. That's why it's not to scale. One of the last hand-drawn maps before James I sent over proper cartographers.
1608, see at the bottom here.
1608. Well, wasn't it 1606 Montgomery and those boys came here?
No, something like that.
But the interesting thing I like about it is the peninsula here, where we're at. And in 1608, as the date is on it, the peninsula was divided in two by the Blackstaff River. That's running from the saltwater brig out there to Portavogie, really.
Right.
And it was a swampland, but it was tidal as well. When the tide was full in, the level rose.
That come up.
So it's a very interesting, I've never seen a map like that anywhere.
Well, if this place was to go on fire, that's the first thing we'd run in to save, is that map. For I've seen nothing like it ever anywhere, and I'm always on the lookout, and I've never seen one as old as that.
We're coming across Jimmy's spud field here, just outside Cloughie, and we're coming to a very interesting site. It's some sort of a chamber or a tunnel, probably from smuggling days or from the days of persecution and that sort of thing. So you're telling me, Jimmy, that pile of stones there, that is the mouth or the entrance into the chamber or tunnel?
That's right. Years ago there was an opening there, I would say it was 6 foot square, but the tunnel that went this way, the entrance into it, was only 15 to 18 inches, and you had to crawl into it.
Yeah.
And it would go on about 25 to 30 yards. It ran from there in that direction there. Whenever we were kids, we weren't allowed to go into it. I heard different stories about it, that it was for hiding people in.
Gibson, have you ever heard anything about this story?
But this tunnel,
Aye.
remember my telling me about it was Owen. We'd be driving by here on a Sunday afternoon, there's slams up there and there's a tunnel and stuff. And I was mad to come up to it to see it, but I was never allowed. Because if I'd been there, I know I'd have been in it.
So I heard that you'd give the smuggling up, but...
Shh, didn't he tell that to the customs man for dear sake?
Portavogie has a long association with fishing and fishermen, and salmon herring fishing would have been the bee's knees, and if you didn't get that, you were in trouble then.
Oh, you were in trouble, and they used to take a sort of an illness, and they brought it on themselves. It was sort of a psychological thing. If they didn't catch any herring, they caught this illness they called the fever.
Herring fever, this is?
The herring fever. The captain would get it first, and then it would go through the crew. But even go to the family, you had to walk home by the shore. You weren't allowed to walk home by the road because there were certain people you couldn't meet. And there were certain things you couldn't say, and it went into the house, and it brought hail around the house for the children couldn't play. If the cat would purr, it would get through out the door. And it went to the boat, and they got suspicious of the crew. There was maybe a Jonah in among them. You hoped it wasn't you, because you showed them your hair. If it was darker than brown, that was okay. But it took a long time for this to go away. There was only one cure. The herring cured the fever. It came out of the water, it wasn't in a pill. The fever was lifted, and the fishermen still.